All right, this is spur of the moment, but it's pretty infuriating when everywhere you look, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, this Greta Thunberg, or however you say her last name, I'm probably slaughtering it, but it's pretty infuriating when you see,
You're
hold
being
on a second,
watched right now, and you.
kids being exploited. And Greta Thunberg is being exploited. I feel sorry for her. I'm not going to say there are no bad words that I have for this child. I have I have children myself, and many of you have children, but to see a kid exploited so that they can push, literally push a political agenda, and that's exactly what climate change is. It's a political agenda. That's exactly what gun control is. Anytime they want to pass something, they exploit kids for it. You want gun control? Well, just put David H. I'm not going to say his last name. That's going to set off the algos, but put a whole bunch of people for March Against Our Lives. They call it March for Our Lives, but it's March Against Our Lives, March Against Our Rights. Put them out in front, and then we can pretty much pass whatever we want to. We can make a whole lot of cheddar if we put those kids right out in front, because everything will be better. Better for politicians, not better for us. So now Greta's in the limelight. Currently, she's trending on the top of Twitter with like 965,000 tweets going out right now as we speak. So this is a spur of the moment thing. And I'm going to give you a quote right here, and they attribute this to Adolf Hitler. I don't know if it's from him or not. I've heard it. I've looked up the attribution. Don't know if it was him. Nevertheless, whoever said this, it is nonetheless true. The state must declare the child to be the most precious treasure of the people. And essentially they are. But when politicians declare it to be, that there's an agenda. Politicians are not looking out after you, especially American politicians, including, let me just say, including American politicians. Because remember, we're still a Title 28, Section 300215A corporation. We're no longer, it's not the United States country, it's the United States federal corporation. They say that in their own documentation. As long as the government is permitted to work for the behalf for some I'm sorry, for the benefit of the children, the people will happily endure almost any curtailment of liberty and almost any deprivation. It doesn't matter if Adolf Hitler said that. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is that true? Yes, we've seen time and time again, and I'm just going to stay in our own recent history where politicians use children to push their own agendas. And there's two reasons for that, because they want to make laws. And in the making of the laws, oh great, I didn't turn off my I did not turn off my notifications, and I don't think I can do it while I'm live. So all these notifications keep popping up on my screen. But there's two reasons they make laws. Number one, it's for the transfer of power. And number two, it's for the transfer of wealth. And don't think for a second that any politician, I don't care who it is, I don't care who your favorite politician is, they're not here for your benefit. They're looking out for corporate interests, and they will do things. They will do snaky, deceptive, conniving things like use little children like Greta Thunberg or whatever her last name is. And they're going to use a David H. And they're going to use the people from the kids from Parkland. And then they're going to get these people marching in the streets of New York, marching in the streets of Washington, marching in the streets of Philadelphia. And there's a bunch of them, guys. This climate strike thing is a humongous movement. But if you know anything about history and social engineering, you know that there's this guy named, well, I sent out the book, how long ago was it? Shoot. 3 months ago, 4 months ago on my email. By the way, if you're not on my email list, subscribe to me through my website, highimpactflix.com. I send out these cool free ebooks. One of them was from Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays is basically the author of what is it? Public Relations, the author and founder of Public Relations. He got people back, women back in the 20s and 30s, to march in the streets, lighting torches of freedom, which was cigarettes, which were actually killing him, for the tobacco industry. The tobacco industry paid him $125, and I've got a video on this, and he was bragging about how he was able to manipulate the minds of all these women on behalf of the tobacco industry to go out and march and light torches of freedom to show that women are equal with men. So he was able to manipulate their minds for this supposedly good cause, but it was all to make the tobacco industry tons of money, to bring in new clients, to bring in new customers, to addict a whole gender of people onto their cigarettes and their tobacco products. That's Edward Bernays. He was I think he was the nephew of Sigmund Freud, or some relation to Sigmund Freud. I can't remember right now. But let's look at what Greta Thunberg says here. Again, I'm not speaking anything derogatory about Greta. I believe that she's being used as a tool, and that's just my opinion. And we're gonna go over some things that other people are saying about Greta. But first, let's see what CNN says about climate change. When CNN's pushing climate change, well, it's probably not in your best interest to believe it, because they're always lying. That's why I call them the Counterfeit News Network. Thanks for that super chat, Seeking Truth. Brian, check your email, both, or Discord. Okay, man, I'll do that. Thanks for the super chat. Okay, let's listen to CNN.
Stark words about the state of the planet as you open the climate action.
Hold on, let me turn this up. There we go.
Summit today. Antonio Guterres told world leaders that nature was angry and striking back with fury around the globe. He denounced the fossil fuel industry for fueling climate change. Now, the now very famous teenage Swedish activist Greta Thunberg also blasted the leaders for squandering the future. Listen.
Now they're going to play a clip of Greta Thunberg here, but I'm going to play the whole clip. We'll wade through this one right here, but I've got the whole clip to play through. Interesting how she comes out against adults.
For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You are failing us. But the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you.
Now, first thing, I don't know about you guys, but the first thing that comes to mind when I see that is this is quite melodramatic. I mean, it's a little bit over the top, if you ask me. This is for my own personal taste, in my opinion. But the first thing that came through my mind when I saw that was the Hegelian dialectic: problem, reaction, solution. The government, if you want to talk about gross polluters on the planet, just talk about the government. I'm just talking, not just talking about the American government, the Canadian government, or the Mexican government, but the Chinese government, the Indian government, the British government. Governments are the biggest gross polluters on the entire planet. So they've created this problem. If there is a problem to be had, it's the government who created it. Problem, wait for the fear-based, emotion-based reaction, because you know it's always coming. Oh my God, climate change. That's why we have hurricanes. That's why we have tornadoes. That's why the volcanoes are going on. That's why the seas are warming and rising. And pretty soon Miami's going to be underwater like AOC, or we only have 11 years left. We've got to do something. Remember, it used to be global cooling, then it was global warming, and then they changed it to climate change because it's a little bit more ambiguous and you can't really sink your teeth into it. It's like global cooling, man, it's not, man, it seems like we have record hot weather. Oh God, we got to change that now. Okay, it's global warming. Global warming, this is the coolest summer we've had on record. What's going on here? Oh God, we got to change that. And then Al Gore's go out there stumping for global, climate change and global warming and global cooling. And oh my God, we got to do something. Oh yeah, what is it we got to do? We have to shovel boatloads and boatloads full of money to politicians that we don't trust, who work for a government who's emitting more CO2 than any of us could possibly do in a lifetime. I mean, just look at Congress. Look at AOC. She's gotten on jets more than I have in my entire life. In the first 6 months in Congress, she's probably flown more than I have, or all of my audience has, in our entire lives. And she's talking about slamming us for our carbon footprint. Holy crap. I have a pissant carbon footprint compared to her Sasquatch print. It's amazing. And the hypocrisy is literally off the charts. And you can expect that when it comes out of the mouths of anybody in government. So you can pretty much see through this crap that's coming out of Greta's mouth. She's not the instigator here. She's not writing her own script. She hasn't injected these thoughts into her own mind. These thoughts and I believe that she's being passionate. I think I'm just giving her the benefit of the doubt. I could be totally wrong, but I think she's sincere. She really thinks the planet is in trouble. And she thinks the primary reason the planet is in trouble is because of man's contribution to carbon emissions. But let me just show you, I pulled up, this is the NASA website. I'm going to turn this around twice so it's clear for you. This is a NASA website. Now I want you to look at the wording, because my understanding is that the consensus was that it's definite global warming or climate change is definitely being caused by man's contribution. But look at the wording here. Look how snaky they are. 97% of climate scientists agree, and never mind the fact that a lot of those are funded by the United States government. So this is the NASA website here. I just want to prove that. This is NASA's website. This is climate.nasa.gov. This is NASA. This doesn't come from me. Just so you know, I'm not making this up. NASA, by the way, let me just address this. We're dumping $60 million every day into NASA. That's not an exaggeration. Look it up. It's $59.6 million every day we dump into NASA. And the best that they could do for us is give us just CGI pictures of planet Earth, CGI of the cosmos, CGI of the Hubble telescope. What are they doing with all of that money? $60 million a day to NASA. So this is, maybe it's, part of that 60 million goes to making websites like this. But listen to the wording. 97% of climate scientists agree that climate warming trends over the past century are extremely likely due to human activities. There's no definitely. It's extremely likely that the climate science isn't even definite according to NASA. So on something that's indefinite, they want us to shovel, according to the Green New Deal, $93 trillion into what's that? Saikath Chakrabarty and AOC's Green New Deal crap. And really, the Green New Deal is about releasing more funds. It's not about healing the earth or anything. And most of the leading scientific organizations worldwide have issued public statements endorsing this position. What position? The position that it's extremely likely, not definite, just extremely likely. So on just extremely likely, that's you and me, not the politicians, of course, have to release $93 trillion worth of wealth so that the politicians we don't trust, can fix a climate that the government is destroying. That's the scam of this whole thing, guys. Do I know if there's global warming or not? No, I don't know. But I do know one thing. You can't trust the government and you can't trust politicians. So the last thing you want to do is give government and politicians your money so that they can do something that they caused. Bottom line. It's not even, you don't even have to argue. There's no global warming. Yes, there is global warming. There's no such thing as climate change. You're a climate change denier. I am not a climate change denier. I just don't believe that, you say these are facts. You don't even have to get into that. All you have to do is go, okay, look, objectively, let me ask you your opinion, just to the man on the street. Do you trust government? If they're honest, they'll say no. No, why would I trust a government who over the last count how many decades have gotten my children and my great-grandchildren, my great-great-great-grandchildren, and on into infinity, into boatloads and mountains and oceans full of transgenerational debt slavery. They've literally ripped us off, and they keep on ripping us off. They keep on dipping into our pockets, and every time you turn around, there's something we got to give money to a politician for so they can fix the roads that never get fixed, so they can rejuvenate those bridges that keep falling down on us, so they can throw more money into an educational system that keeps failing our kids, and people are actually graduating from high school not even able to read. If we can't trust the government to set up a Department of Education where when people graduate after 15,000 hours of education, they can't even read and write properly, why the hell would we ever dump boatloads of money to put a spaceship up in the air, put a man on the moon? Yeah, right, okay. Or to heal the earth. How many carbon emissions go off every time they detonate a bomb, any bomb? And they're literally detonating tens of thousands of bombs every single week in different locations around the world. And we're going to trust politicians who are part of government, who are causing the problem so that they can solve the problem that they caused. So back to this thing. This is all, when I see Greta up there, it's a Hegelian dialectic. It's problem, reaction, fear-based reaction. And then they're going to step in to give you the pre-planned solution that they planned the whole time to give you. It's all about raking in that money, and it's all about playing on your emotions, playing on your feelings. Guess what? Facts don't care about your feelings. And the fact is, the people who have gotten us into the worst possible situation we could ever get into, namely banker bought wars. Nobody talk. I would respect Greta if she woke up and said, the worst thing that's causing the worst death and destruction on this entire planet, that's empirical, that's objective, that we can point back to, and we even have a body count, specific body counts, 59,000 people that lost their lives. That's just military guys from Vietnam alone, not even counting all the collateral damage, all the other human beings that died in Vietnam. Some estimates are as high as 1.5 to 2 million people. You really concerned about people dying, Greta? Well, hurricanes and floods and plagues and famine have not wiped out near the amount that government has in the last 250 years. Look at the numbers, guys. Not counting wars. We are not counting any wars. In the last 100 years alone, government is directly responsible for the deaths of over 250 million of its own citizens who trusted them to take care of them. That's 250 million people. And Greta's going to sit up there and talk about how many lives are being lost because of earthquakes and because of famine and because of climate change. Now, it doesn't even come close to the government slaughtering its own people that they're supposed to be protecting. It's kind of like cops. We're here to serve and protect. No, you're not. You're here to harass and collect, and I can prove it. You can look at video and after video and after video on YouTube. You're not here to serve and protect. You're here to harass and collect. And that's the exact MO of Zionist international banking cartel bought and paid for politicians in Congress. And I'm talking about all 100 senators and all 435 congressmen. Everybody in the House and everybody in the Senate is sold out and in the back pocket of Zionist international bankers in Israel. Period. Provable. Objective. So if you want to get rid of a scourge on the earth, let's start with international banking. Let's start with the IRS. Let's free up resources so we can do something about, helping the planet if that's what's necessary. And guys, we should be good stewards of the earth. We shouldn't be throwing our trash out the window and just. I was behind this guy the other day. He was in a diesel. I drive a diesel too, but it doesn't spew black smoke. And this guy just accelerated. It seems like he's done this to me. Like, I don't know if you're listening. I don't know what your deal is. He gets in front of me and he just pounds the gas, and this black smoke just goes up into the atmosphere. It's like, we should do all that we can within reason, not to poison the water and the air that we breathe. That's a good idea, I think. But to get up there and say, oh my God, it's climate change and man's causing climate change. Oh, really? What's the answer? We need to beg politicians to please help us. Please save us. Please make more legislation to make us less free and steal more of our money so that you can waste it. Because that's what you're good at. Politicians are good at one thing. They're good at wasting. I was talking to Trisha the other day. I said, and because I've read this time and time again on different memes, but it's true. Government's good at one thing. They're good at breaking your legs, giving you government subsidized crutches and saying, see, if it weren't for the government, you wouldn't be able to walk. It's ridiculous. They caused the problem, wait for your reaction, give you the give you the solution, and now they take credit for you being able to walk when you wouldn't have had any trouble walking if it wasn't for the government in the first place. The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And that's exactly what climate change is. The government saying, hey, I'm here to help. Communist News Network, the Clown News Network, the Counterfeit News Network, whatever you want to call them, they're pushing climate change like there's no tomorrow. And they're actually saying there may be no tomorrow unless we get on this climate change. Look how great these kids are. You need to listen to the kids. Well, we're going to listen to, people are waking up to this crap. They're waking up to it big time. And I am shocked that CNN didn't take away the ability to comment on their video right here. Because look at this. Let me get it closer here. 2.8 thousand likes to 3.8 thousand dislikes. And you should read some of the comments. Like, climate change is a new age apocalyptic religion. And it truly is. This is actually a really good comment. Let's see. Many had a similar passion for change 25 years ago. This persistent continues to fall on deaf ears with the vast majority, greed, power, society. I think they're for the climate change thing. It's okay. She's just a child, so we should believe everything she says. Yeah, that's another. That's why they roll out the children. Hey, don't say anything bad about Greta. Don't disagree with. If you disagree with Greta, you must have a serious problem listening to children. We need to hear our children. If you're not listening to our children, guess what? There's something wrong with you. There's something inherently evil about you. That's why they push the kids out, because they think, hey, you know what? If they start saying something bad about kids, we're just going to slam them for being evil adults. Reading the comments on this video makes me think that maybe humans don't deserve to survive, but I plant trees for a living anyway. There were a lot of really, really good, and the Oscar goes to. Let's just watch the whole Greta Thunberg thing. If you haven't seen it, it's very, I don't know. I'm just going to say bizarre. This is from NBC News. Let's just watch this whole thing, how she just tries to shame everybody.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words. And yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are
No, let's not watch it. I want to watch it because we got to expose this stuff, guys.
dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can.
We are in the beginnings. She's talking about this in an emphatic way, as though this were absolute fact. We are at the beginnings of a mass extinction. Oh, are we just supposed to believe you? Come on, seriously? That's fear-mongering at its pinnacle, guys.
Talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to...
Now, I don't see how she can say that. The science isn't crystal clear. The science actually says that 97% of climate scientists agree that climate warming trends over the past century are extremely likely, not definitely due to human activities, extremely likely. That's not crystal clarity, guys. That's from NASA. NASA's saying that. They're not saying definitely. They themselves are saying extremely likely. Come on.
Look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight. You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe.
This is a heavy-duty psychological operation. I wouldn't call her the devil. I don't know who said that. Somebody says she's the devil. I'm not calling Greta that. She's being co-opted. She's being manipulated. There are opportunists out there who are putting her in the limelight, just like they did with AOC and just like they're doing with Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar. They're putting these people in the dog and pony show to keep us. Sorry, guys, it detected me. Am I back on? Am I back live? It says I was. It totally white screened me though. Are we back on? Thumbs up if we are. Shoot. All right, thumbs up. Back. Okay, good. Sorry, guys. Hey, stay with me if that happens again. I don't know why this is happening. I have a good connection. I checked it before. Hey, thanks for all the thumbs up. Cool. Must be a huge delay. This is psychological operations 101, guys. This emotion based, provoking, trying to provoke an emotion based response. It will absolutely lead you down the wrong path every single time, 100% of the time.
The idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist. So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. To have a 67% chance of staying below a 1.5 degrees of global temperature rise, the best odds given by the IPCC.
I'm not digging a kid getting out there and talking down to adults either. That's just not that's not my thing. I wanted to pull this up too. This is, I haven't seen this yet. I saw a GIF of it on Twitter. They're playing this like crazy. This says teen climate activist Greta, whatever her name is, held back by security as Trump, or was it UN? Held back by security. Like, what was she going to do? Jump the president? Held back by security? Let's see this. Let's see Greta held back by security. Oh, got to get Greta out of the way. She's a threat to the president. She's mad. Put her in the safe space. Here comes the president. Look at her face.
Are you willing to meet with Mr. Wu, sir? See what happens.
I don't know. I didn't see much holding back there. I don't know what that was all about. It would have been interesting if Trump went up and kind of got on one knee down on her level and started talking with her, see what her reaction would have been. 1.5 minutes left of this. Let's check out what she says.
The world
I would love to. Somebody said Soph. I would love to see Soph and Greta Thunberg have a discussion, have a debate. That would be quite interesting. Who's up for a Soph / Greta Thunberg debate? Greta. Somebody said, "Who's Greta?" She is the face of the climate strike and the climate change movement, and they've just put her out on the front as the star of the show, basically, for whoever asked that.
had 420 gigabytes.
Stick with me, guys. She's almost, yeah, I know. I would love to see that. So it would be interesting to see. Let's put it that way. You would definitely have to have a couple moderators on that one.
Tons of CO2 left to emit back on January 1st, 2018. Today, that figure is already down to less than 350 gigatons. How dare you pretend?
Let's face it, on a lot of these facts and figures that they give us, you basically have to either take their word for it or just not believe them, because how are we going to find out how many gigatons or whatever of CO2 emissions there are? And how do we know? I saw somebody chatting before the live stream began. How do we know that volcanoes don't emit more carbon emissions than mankind? Somebody was saying one volcano, like Mount St. Helens, remember when it erupted? Look how much physical crap went into the air. How many people died from just breathing the stuff in the air? How long did it stay around? how many emissions did it dump into the atmosphere compared to, say, all of the United States for the next 15 years? So, nature's doing a lot themselves. Government, we're constantly spraying crap in the air to try to keep the sunlight from hitting the earth, which is affecting the vegetation. It's affecting our ability to produce food for ourselves. And it's really basically better to be in a warm climate than it is in a colder climate, because the further you move up north, the less opportunity you have of growing things. The more inclement the weather. You want warm weather to produce, your citruses and all the things that we enjoy at our tables, all the vegetation that we enjoy. Like if you're a vegan, you're not growing many vegetables up in Norway. You're growing a lot of them down south. There's a lot of vegetables being grown in Central America. So like there's a lot to say about a warm climate, a lot of positive things to say about warm climate. Why is it that more people live in warmer weather than those that choose to live in colder weather? Because it's more comfortable. It's better. It gives you more benefits. So this idea of, oh my God, it's warming and the sea levels are rising. And that's another thing too. If the sea levels are rising, rich people aren't stupid. They may be corrupt, they may be on the take, they may be completely dishonest, but they're not stupid. So they're going to pour their investment dollars into coastal areas. Why would you invest in land that's going to be underwater in 4 years, according to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or 11 years? Why would you dump all your resources to buy real estate in regions that are going to be, the fish are going to be nipping at your foundations pretty soon, because the tide's going to rise, because the water's warming, because of climate change. Why would they ever do that? Look at these financial trends. These guys aren't stupid. They want to make money. They don't want to lose a whole ton of money. Let's get back to Greta. So we're almost done with Greta.
This can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions. With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years.
Fear mongering. We don't have much time. We got to do something now. Got to do it right now. Don't think, just do.
Any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable, and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is.
A kid telling adults you're not mature enough. Now, she may be right, because she's talking to people at the Climate Action Summit. So there's a lot of people that are pretty brain dead and moronic. So you have somebody who's being used as a tool. I'm not saying she's a moron. I'm saying she's being used as a tool of morons to speak to morons, to do moronic things and give money to moronic politicians. It's all just a cluster F.
You are failing us. But the young...
a lot of people making fun of her not blinking. She has Asperger's disease, or Asperger's, or however you say that. So, I cut her a lot of slack. She is being manipulated by the adults who want her to get out their message. She may be passionate about this message herself, but she's being used as a tool. So I do feel sorry for her.
People are starting to understand.
It's a flustercluck, Edgar says.
And your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. We will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up. And change is coming, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I'm glad Matthew mentioned MK Ultra. I kind of see that in this too. And yeah, the world is waking up. All you got to is look at, this is not, that looks like about a 70% like ratio. That's not good as far as YouTube stats. There are a lot of people, like this guy says, I'm surprised they allowed comments on this one. Let's see. There is no planet B. Guys, I agree with this. Like there's a lot of signs out there on that climate strike that says there is no planet B. This is all we've got. So we should take care of it. But are we going to really entrust politicians to it? Here, steal more of my the product of my laboring energies so that you can do your thing, politicians, because you have such a good track record of doing so well with our money. I know you're going to fix the economy. What could possibly go wrong when you give a whole bunch of politicians a whole bunch of money to solve an issue that probably doesn't even need to be solved? There's really, it's just yeah, it is a flustercluck. It's a big flustercluck. This little kid talking about climate change works for George Soros. I don't know about that. Maybe, could be. Like it or not, change is coming. You know, change always happens though. There were a couple of these comments that I saw that were actually very thoughtful, well thought out, and I can't even find one of them now. This is DC Shorts. DC Shorts has even DC Shorts, which wouldn't be for the Greta Thunberg narrative, has tons of thumbs down. Look at this, 300 something thumbs down to 179 thumbs up. That's horrible. That's a horrible dislike to like ratio. There are a couple things. She's a good actor. Maybe she's not acting, guys. Maybe she's being very serious and she just was co-opted and somebody saw her as an opportunity to make a whole bunch of money, you know, and she doesn't even know it. I can picture her in 1 or 2 decades looking back and going, oh my gosh, I was totally used as a tool to make to create a story and to be passionate and to plan people's emotions and make a whole bunch of criminals a whole bunch of money. And I feel so bad. I don't think she has the maturity to be able to see that. Even adults can't see sometimes that they're being manipulated and used as tools for some other agenda. So here's Greta. She's on Twitter, just completely trending. People can't say enough good things about her. Of course, there's a lot of people taking stabs at her. She's not our enemy. I mean, she's being used as an enemy, but she's not our enemy. The enemies are the people who are actually using her, manipulating her, controlling her. Let's see. This is for you, Greta Thunberg, and it's talking about, yeah, like how do we know that the U.S. military didn't cause this kind of damage right there? Heavy rainfall in different places, withholding rainfall in other places. Look at Mike Morales' channel. He uses a lot of here. I'm gonna go to his channel. It's called Mike Morales. Let's give him a shout out. He does a really, really good job. If you're not subscribed to Mike Morales' YouTube channel, he's got 64,000 subscribers. He deserves more than that. He does a lot of really good work on weather. He stays exclusively with weather, what causes weather patterns, pulls up tons of charts I've never seen in my life that he's pulling this stuff off the internet, intelligibly speaking about what he can speak about. And it's just a really good channel. It's called Mike Morales. There's a quick impromptu shout out for him. There's so much we don't know about the weather, guys. There's so much we're not in control of, but there's also so much out there like the HARP system. What is that? Where they energize the clouds and make them condense and make precipitation fall where it's really not supposed to be falling. And they start flooding and then they send FEMA in there and there's tons of insurance money being made. There's a lot of weather manipulation and they even admit it. They admit there's weather manipulation. Here's that GIF I told you I saw. You know, there's Greta's face as President Trump walks by. Let's see. Michael Knowles today. Let's check this out.
Were about science, it would be led by scientists. Rather, the climate hysteria movement is not none of that matters because the climate hysteria movement is not about science. If it were about science, it would be led by scientists rather than by politicians and a mentally ill Swedish child who is being exploited by her parents and by the international left. So
I don't know who this guy is, but he's right on the money. I don't like the dig against the girl. She's only 16, guys. I cut her slack. You know, she's not mentally mature enough to figure out what's really going on. Maybe she is, but I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt. I want to listen to what this guy had to say again.
Because the climate hysteria movement is not about science. If it were about science, it would be led by scientists rather than by politicians and a mentally ill Swedish child who is...
Other than mentally ill, I totally agree with what he said. If all you needed was facts, just get the scientists out there. Don't try to push this with kids, guys. You know, that's basically what he's saying.
Being exploited by her parents and by the international left. So what you're seeing here is a political movement and a religious movement, and it's fulfilling religious and political goals of the left, but it isn't doing very much for science.
There you go. I don't know who's this Michael Knowles. I don't know who he is, but I totally agree.
Chris, you had a visceral reaction to that.
You had a visceral. In other words, Chris, you got triggered. This triggered you. What do you want to say, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, you're a grown man and you're attacking a child. Shame on you.
She's trying
I'm
to
not.
do
I'm
what she
attacking the left
thinks
for
is right.
exploiting
And by the way,
mentally ill
now
child.
relax, skinny boy.
Oh, that's good, man.
I got this, okay? You're attacking a child. You're a grown man. Have some cool.
I'm not. I'm attacking the
when
left
you're
for
on
exploiting
television.
a mentally ill
maybe
child.
on your podcast, you get away and say whatever you want because nobody's listening. You're on national television. Be a grown up when you're talking about children. She's trying to
Yeah, he's being a grown up. Wait a minute, skinny boy.
save the planet because your president doesn't believe in climate change and kids.
Now you get it? Did you hear what he said? Your president doesn't believe in climate change. Guys, if there were facts, you don't have to believe anything. You don't. If climate change was real, there's no faith needed. There's no faith necessary. Why would you have to exercise faith, some belief in the unseen, the unknown, if these were facts? If climate change were facts, you don't need belief. You don't need faith. It's like, do I believe my girlfriend exists? I don't need to believe. I know she exists.
Need to take to the streets to worry about their future. You are despicable for talking to her about her like that. And you should apologize on national television right now.
This guy doesn't. I'm going to go out on a limb, guys. This liberal, and you guys know I don't like the left versus right paradigm. I'm assuming this guy is left and this guy right here is right. The left versus right paradigm has done more to poison the minds of the masses than pretty much anything I can think of. The left versus right paradigm is what's keeping us from seeing that one of the biggest problems that mankind has to face today is the Federal Reserve and the IRS. You eliminate those two entities and all the alphabet soup corporations, but they can't exist. The FBI, the CIA, the DEA, the alcohol ATF, they can't exist without that free, dishonest money system, the petrodollar fiat currency Ponzi scheme system. If that didn't exist, we couldn't have hundreds and hundreds of military bases scattered throughout the world. We couldn't support that. We couldn't sustain that. But because we have easy money where we don't even have to print it anymore, we just put zeros and ones in people's bank accounts and in Blackwater's account or whatever. Because we have that source, that pool from which to draw and fund all these things and continue the dog and pony show, because we have the Federal Reserve, because we have the IRS, we have all this crap going on, and we have entitlements, and we have NASA, and we can give all this money to the to Israel and all these other nations that don't deserve to get this money, and we can be empire building wherever we want and leave Humvees and airplanes and all this stuff strewn all over the desert on the taxpayer dime. If you cut that off, if you cut that poisonous limb off, the cancer would not be able to spread, at least not as fast as it's spreading. But because we have a fiat currency Ponzi scheme wrought by the Federal Reserve, international Zionist banking cartel, we can have all that corruption. You cut that off at the root, and you are going to literally change not only America, but the world overnight for the better. You will have gotten rid of a ton of evil, but nobody can see it because of the left versus right paradigm, dog and pony show that keeps the Republican against the Democrat and the Democrat at the throat of the Republican. And as long as we're distracted, deceived, and divided by this left versus right paradigm lie, we will never make any ground. But having said that, there are things that the Knowles guy said that's true, and you can see it triggering this guy. I don't think for a second that this guy on the right here, who represents the left, ironically, it cares one bit about Greta or any kid. But what this guy just did was stepped on the ideological toes of this guy. And so now this guy's got to get triggered because, hey, whoa, you just, you went against my belief system. You went against my religious political idolatry. And he did it very well, actually, at, minus the mentally ill child, or whatever he said.
I think the international left and her parents who are exploiting a girl with many mental illnesses.
You called her mentally ill. Take it back now.
She is mentally ill.
Take it back now.
She is mentally ill. She has autism. She has obsessive compulsive disorder. She has selective mutism. She had depression.
You are despicable.
Her mother wrote about.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so he's coming from. Okay, so now I'm seeing what he's saying. He's just going with the facts, and this guy's exploited. His facts are hurting this guy's feelings. Is what's going on. Because if you just take Greta, let's see. Let's just look. I'm not really familiar. Let's see, Greta Thunberg. what is it? Asperger's? How do you say that? Why Greta makes adults uncomfortable. I think I read where she's OCD and she's got all. Okay, so now I understand why this Knowles guy is calling her mentally. Okay, so I'm a little bit more on board with that. I need to be a little bit more. I need to educate myself a little bit more about the medical condition of Greta Thunberg, apparently. But if she has all those, then there is something mental going on with her, clinically mental. So this guy got triggered over facts, and guys, facts still don't care. I don't care who you are. Facts still don't care about your feelings. They never have, and they never will. Let's see. I'll never forgive. That's a great role model for you. We will never forgive you. Let's see, what is this guy saying? If you watch Greta Thunberg's speech at the UN today and were not moved to tears, please make an appointment and ask your doctor if you still have a soul. Oh my gosh, people really want you to be moved by emotion. Matter of fact, I wasn't planning on doing this, but let me see. I think I have this clip. I was actually going to do a video on this Greta Thunberg thing, and that's when I decided to go live. But check this clip out right here. Let me see. This is we're going in the back door, boys. Watch out. This clip right here. Let's try to. All right, I'm live now. Sorry, somebody was trying to call in on Facebook, so FaceTime, whatever it is. I don't know. Check this out. This is from SE Cup. And I want to play this because she leans heavily on emotion. Watch this. Let me get this set up here, guys. Sorry. I wasn't really expecting to play this, but this is very germane to what we're talking about here. They want you so bad to go out on the limb of emotion that they pull crap like this.
Special interests. And finally,
by the way, she's talking about we got to do something about guns. We got to do something about gun control. We got to institute gun control. Listen to this.
Be honest about the role that guns play in this culture of hate in America. And the honest, simple answer is, it is too easy for too many sick people to get their hands on guns.
To which I would say, so what? Shall not be infringed. Yeah, if sick people get their hands on guns, then sick people get their hands on guns. Freedom is dangerous, and I'd rather have dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery. Don't tell me, well, you don't want to put guns in the hands of evil people, do you? Don't use that as a premise for taking away my rights and my guns and my private property and my neighbor's private property and my loved one's private property and my audience's private property. I don't care. Yeah, evil people are going to do evil things. And criminals are always going to get guns. And when you make laws to make me a criminal, you just made everything 10 times, 100 times worse. You basically poured a ton of gasoline, politically corrupt and motivated gasoline on the fires of things that eat away individual liberties. So yeah, I don't want dangerous people to have guns, but I'd rather them have guns than have dangerous people in the halls of Congress make me out to be a criminal because they're trying to stop bad people from having guns. You get what I'm saying? So let's go back to listen to this emotion, this plea of emotion from SE Cup.
People with the kind of hate in their hearts as the El Paso and Dayton shooters, the Sutherland Springs and Charleston church shooters, Las Vegas, San Bernardino shooters. I
know this is going to seem like a digression, guys, but even though we're talking about guns as opposed to climate, it's still the same kind of narrative. It's the narrative of control. And the way they get control is they come through the back door of emotion. We're all emotional creatures. There's nothing wrong with emotions, nothing at all. As a matter of fact, if you don't have emotions, you're not a human being. But if you're governing your life according to emotions, if you're throwing logic and truth and principled positions out the window because you're so emotionally moved about climate change and about people dying with, gun deaths, and we need to ban assault style rifles and all that kind of stuff, you are going down a completely immoral road.
A killing device, 100 rounds of ammo, and say, please don't do anything bad with these. A kid who shows videos of mass shootings on a first date.
I'm gonna fast forward to this going.
Domestic abusers
I want to get to the emotion
should
part.
never have access to a gun of any kind, period. People who make violent threats against individuals or groups of people should.
I'm going to fast forward again.
Our gun laws should make it harder if not impossible, for people who hate to carry out their violent fantasies. And right now, our gun laws.
Nope, that's not true, because if you make a broad brush law, then you're going to stop quote unquote law abiding citizens who want to do right. They're actually doing wrong by being law abiding, because they're doing their families a great disservice by giving their personal protection devices away to the government. That same personal protection devices that was gonna protect them and their families, they're giving away to government. So actually, they're worse off at the end than they were at the beginning.
Make it too damn easy. Universal background checks, gun violence restraining order.
Yeah, universal background checks, gun violence restraining orders. These are infringements. Red flag laws, TAP acts. Where do they stop? Assault rifles? You don't need an assault rifle. You don't need 30 rounds to shoot a deer.
There's raising the age of gun purchases to 21, banning 100-round drums, fixing our NICS system.
Banning, that's prohibition. When has government prohibition worked for anything? It failed for alcohol prohibition. It failed hugely with the drug prohibition. Basically, it's not a war on alcohol or a war on drugs. It's a war on people.
Investing in mental health inside our schools.
We're getting to the emotion part, guys. It's just totally pathetic.
These things cannot wait. I am so sick and tired of participating in this predictable cycle of politics, where a mass shooting happens, the left calls for new gun laws, some meaningful, some unproductive. The right yells slippery slope and hides behind the Constitution. Nothing.
Yeah, hiding behind individual rights. Yeah, that's a really bad thing, isn't it, SC?
Nothing happens. Nothing changes. And with the next mass shooting, we do it all over again. Look, I love the Constitution, but it's still a document.
I love the Constitution, but I've done nothing but spent the last 8 minutes talking about how much I hate the Constitution. But don't pay any attention to that. Give me a break.
It's
SE cock.
meant to protect
Good job,
human
Ron.
beings, real people, life, liberty,
That's what I love about you guys. I love these comment sections. SE cuck instead of cup.
pursuit of happiness. What happiness are we protecting if our
What happiness do we have when the government comes in and says you can't have that property? And if you have that property, we just now criminalized you. You better give it to us. No, I don't want to give you my private property. Okay, we got some guys at the door with guns, and we're going to initiate gun violence on you to stop gun violence. That makes a whole lot of freaking sense.
kids are afraid to go to school? What liberty are we protecting if we don't feel safe at the mall or walking down the street?
If you don't feel safe in the mall, buy a gun. Go to the mall with your firearm. That's the safest you can be. You become the first responder instead of waiting for a first responder. Get good at that firearm. Tear it down. Learn how to load it. Learn what kind of ammunition goes in it. Learn how to fire it. Sight that thing in. And so when somebody comes up to you and threatens your life or your family's life, take them out. Take them out. TTO. Take them out. This is what democracy looks like.
What lives are we protecting when we arm a 21-year-old white supremacist with 100 rounds of ammo?
When we arm.
Only so he can go shoot up dozens of people at a Walmart, including a 2-month-old child.
And they could have been easily stopped by an 86-year-old with a Glock 22. Easily. She didn't call 911. She called 1911. She called 357. She called 38 Special. But she didn't call 911 because she wasn't a victim. She freaking empowered herself.
I know.
And you know what? Guys? People are like, God, you go everywhere with a gun? Man, you're paranoid. No, I'm prepared. And if you were in aisle 5 with me in the grocery store and a gunman came in, you'd be hiding behind me. And the last thing you'd be calling me is paranoid. You'd be going, my God, thank you. This man is prepared. So is it preparedness or is it paranoia? If you buy a gun, learn how to use it, and you decide no matter where I go, I'm not going to be a freaking victim. I'm going to be the victor if I can help it. And if I go down, I'm going to at least go down shooting. You know? How did we get to the point where we're such freaking pansies, man? I mean, like when I was growing up, men were men. It's like that Carol O'Connor from All in the Family was, girls were girls and men were men. We could use a man like her. But Herbert Hoover was just a pervert, man. Anyway, just everything's all on its head. Yeah, back then, girls were girls and men were men. Ain't that's not the case anymore.
will be accused of letting my emotions get in the
Okay, here it is. Here it is. Okay. We went all through all that. Here, it's gonna be worth it, guys. It's gonna be worth it. Ready?
I know I will be accused of letting my emotions get in the way of facts here.
Huh. I wonder why. Maybe it's because your emotions got in the way of facts. Listen to what she says.
I've made that accusation before. But this is an emotional issue. How could it not be?
Guys, it is an emotional issue. If people get mowed down in your local grocery store, 30 people died, that incites some humanity in you, okay? Yes. But you don't act on that. You love those people. You hate that they died. You're glad that it wasn't your family. We can't divorce the humanity of that. But you don't live your life on the wave of emotion, because the wave comes in and the wave goes out. That's what principle's all about. You stay the line, you stay the course. You want facts, you want truth, because it never varies. Facts and truth go like this, it's constantly going up. Emotions are like you're up and you're down and you're up and you're down, and you can't really trust them. You can trust facts and truth and logic and stay the principled route. But the problem is they've gone from principle to politics, and politics is 100% of the time corrupt. So there is no direction. And because there's no truth and there's no logic and there's no facts, they have to rely on getting you on board with emotion, because that's how they can shove their agenda down your throats. That's how they can promote their narrative. That's how it works. And it sounds cold, but you don't do it without emotion, but you do say, hey, emotion, yeah, this is sad. It's kind of like when if there's an accident, the last thing you want to do is freak out, because probably 90% of everybody else is freaking out. You want to stay calm. You don't want, like, let's say your significant other got sliced somewhere, some major artery is just spurting up in the air. The last thing you want to do is operate in emotions, because your emotions is going to kill your spouse or your significant other. The last thing you want to do is go, oh my God, you're bleeding. Blood is going everywhere. Oh my God. Babe, what if I did that? What if I went, oh my God. Oh, what am I going to do, babe? You're bleeding all over the place. There's a puddle of blood, and I'm freaking her out. I'm freaking out. But if I go, oh my God, this is really tearing me up inside. I'm watching her life ebb away. But if I freak out and make her freak out, her heart rate's going to get elevated. More blood's going to squirt up in the air. I need to stay even keel. I need to go with truth and logic. Okay, what do I need to do? Okay, direct pressure. Boom. You're going to be okay, babe. You're going to be okay. We're making it through this. It ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. The last thing you want to do is freak out. So when you operate on this crest and these waves of emotion, that is the perfect way to manipulate the masses, and that is exactly what happens when you're a part of the masses. Have you ever noticed that individuals lose their individuality when they're in these large groups, and they say things that are just complete nonsense, and they parrot the words of others even though they don't even know what it means? I'm against assault rifles. Down with assault rifles. Ban assault rifles. Can I ask you a real quick question? Yeah, sure, no problem. What is it? What's an assault rifle? Ban assault rifles. Get away from this guy. Ban assault. They don't even know where an assault rifle is. It's like when I was in Washington and I was asking all these people, okay, now you're against gun violence, right? Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm against gun violence. Okay, do you want the guns to be controlled? Are you for gun control? Yes, I'm for gun control. Do you trust government? No, I don't trust government. Okay, who do you want to control the guns? Well, if I say the government and I just said I don't trust the government, then I'm going to look like a Looney Tune because I want the government to control the guns. That's what I'm out here for. I'm begging politicians to control the guns. But my God, I don't trust politicians. So they're acting on emotion. They have no logic. So when you come at them with logic, just simple questions, man, they can't answer it. It's like, it's like Fonz. Remember the Fonz couldn't say, what was that thing that Arthur Fonzarelli couldn't say on Happy Days? I was wrong. He couldn't say I was wrong. He goes, it's like he was clearly wrong, and he's like, I was. It's like interviewing Arthur Fonzarelli out there in the March Against Our Rights, March for Our Lives, a March Against Our Lives, and they couldn't go behind the barrier because they're operating on this crest of emotions, and oh my God, it's so sad, and we got to get rid of guns. Oh my God, the guns are what are going to do the killing. Remember, I just gotta play this. Hold on. All right, I'm gonna play this, babe. Don't laugh at me. She's laughing at me. Babe, you're not bleeding over there, are you? Okay, because I'm about to freak out if you are. All right, I got it. The guns are what's going to do the killing. A stream can rise no higher than its source. So you got this guy coming along, this Yahoo Nelson from Florida. Let's see what will do the killing? Here we go. Are you ready? I know you've seen this before, but it's worth playing again.
When you get right down to it, the gun is what is going to do the killing.
And then all the I got Homer Simpson going, no! The gun is what is going to do the killing, and all the lemmings in the CNN crowd are going, the gun is what is going to do the killing. Oh my God! Oh, he's clapping. I better clap too. Yes, that's absolutely right. The guns. We need to ban the guns because those things are what are going to do the killing. Oh my gosh! Couldn't be more clear. So they're operating this. Emotions aren't bad, but to be governed by your emotions and to make decisions on your emotions, and then to have politicians ban certain things and criminalize peaceful, innocent gun owners because of your emotions, that is nothing short of evil. It's absolute evil. To beg a corrupt politician and a government that you don't trust to make peaceful, innocent gun owners criminals because you're scared of guns that you don't even understand. It's BS, and it's just this cycle of just constant bull hucky. Keeping this family friendly just for you. Bull hucky. That's what it is. So getting back to SE Cup and the emotion wagon. And we're gonna zoom in on her a little bit. We're gonna watch her face, see if her eyeballs are watering a little bit. Let's hear you. What about emotion?
In fact, it should be more emotional. And to my friends in the Republican Party.
The exact opposite of what it needs to be. She wants it to be more emotional.
At the NRA, on the side of gun rights, if you're not emotional about this, join me, won't you?
Won't you join me in being completely flipped out and anti-logic and anti-truth? Just join me. I'm so glad when I see stuff like this on CNN, guys, because they really let down their guard when they do this. You can actually see them for who they really are and the agenda that they're really trying to push. I'm a hyper child. Brian is a hyper child, babe.
With emotion. There's a lot we can accomplish. We start as humans, not NRA lobbyists or gun control lobbyists, not special interest groups or politicians, but as humans, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, friends, colleagues.
Yeah, and then never mind the fact that, it's all politicians we're trying to hand our power and our money over to so that they can make everything right. Yeah, that's going to go really well for all of us. When we hand all of our power and control and finances over to the politicians, because we know they make everything better 100% of the time, right? Let's see some more. What other climate change stuff do we have here? Oh, just refreshed. Let's see. Ads. I wanted to push this out there, guys. What is this? Are your parents Nazis? That's pretty. I wonder if that's a real picture right there. Let me get back to this so-called quote by Adolf Hitler. Like I said at the beginning of this video, whether he said it or not, it's nonetheless true. And this is how children are exploited by politicians, whether German politicians or Australian politicians or American politicians. They want to use children to exploit your emotions. The state must declare the child to be the most precious treasure of the people. And they are. But the state doesn't believe that, but they will declare that because they want to manipulate you. As long as the government is perceived as working for the benefit of the children, and you can't tell me that government is working for the benefit of the children when 125,000 babies are murdered. Let's just look at this statistic. How many abortions per day? Look at this. According to this is a government source, guys. According to the World Health Organization, every year in the world, there are an estimated 400 to 500 million abortions. This corresponds to approximately 125,000 murdered babies, innocent babies in the womb murdered every day. You're going to tell me that government really cares about children? Oh, we care about the Gretas of the world. We care so much about the Gretas of the world. We care about them. No, you don't. No, you don't. There's one thing, actually, there's a lot of things the government's good at, and one of them is lying. They're very good at lies. They're very good at deception. They're very good at conning people into believing them again and again and again. Well, I'm not Democrat anymore because the Democrats did me wrong. Now I'm the Republican. Oh, damn it, I can't be a Republican anymore. I'm going to go move back to the Democratic Party. And then we're squabbling because we've been deceived, divided, and distracted by mainstream media nonsense, 24/7 propaganda campaigns, and government entities. And by the way, when we're talking about government and CNN, this is state-funded propaganda, guys. Back in the 70s, they already proved this, even in their own congressional hearings, that the CIA has completely manipulated media and news, newsprint and television back then. How much worse is it now? And then you've got Mike Pompeo getting up there going, yeah, and the CIA, they taught us how to lie, cheat, and steal. They even had whole training courses on it. And this reminds me of the greatness of the American experiment. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? So when I talk about the Communist News Network or the Counterfeit News Network, the Clown News Network, MSLSD, ABC, always broadcasting crap, CNBC, Rachel Madcow, Jake Tapper, Brian Stelter, it doesn't matter. I know when I said Brian Stelter, I know what happened in your minds. Something clicked in your minds and you heard Mark Dice's voice. That's what happened. You got to admit it. You heard Mark Dice's voice when I said Brian Stelter, but it's all CIA-controlled Operation Mockingbird, 24/7 propaganda from mainstream media, and this stuff that you're seeing with Greta ain't no different. It ain't no different at all, guys. We need to take our heads out of our asses. By the way, I have a shirt called, I wanted to be a liberal for Halloween, but my head wouldn't fit far enough up my ass. It's in the shirt store right now if you want to support the channel. Halloween's right around the corner. Anyway, we need to get our heads out of our asses and figure out what's really going on in this world and realize that we're actually being deceived, distracted, and divided by the power players who, if we weren't distracted, deceived, and divided, we'd actually be making some headway. Maybe we wouldn't need fossil fuels. Maybe because of maybe if in the absence of government regulations, we wouldn't even need cars, combustion engines, roads. Who knows how far advanced we'd be if we weren't held back by the charlatans in government who have us now in $22 trillion worth of transgenerational debt slavery. And that does not count unfunded liabilities like Social Security and Medicare. Matter of fact, guys, I always say this. This is just such a disgusting number to me. It's an unbelievably disgusting number. 125,000 a day. That if that doesn't piss you off, I don't know what could. I don't know what could. Let me show you something. Let me just show you something. National debt clock. I want to show you because people are like, what do you mean we're in more than $22 trillion worth of transgenerational debt slavery? Look, like gangbusters, just like Obama and Bush before him and Reagan and all these guys. They don't care about you. They care about themselves. It's a big club, Carlin says, and you ain't in it. This money right here is going into somebody's pocket. It's coming out of somebody's pocket and going into somebody's pocket. But let me show you this number right here. Let me show you. If you go down to, let's see. Oh, wow. They modified this a little bit. Let me see. It's going to take me a second because it looks like it's in a different place. It is here. Unless they took it out. If they took it out, that's probably smart of them. Household assets. Where is that? Wow, they've completely revamped this. Where is this? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, they put it in a different place. Look at this. This is the $22 trillion debt. Okay. That's the big number that everybody looks at. But people don't understand that they've already dipped into Social Security and Medicare and borrowed against even it. That's how thirsty and power hungry these guys are. Okay. I don't know if you can see this. Here, I'm going to just try to keep it still. Hold on. If I keep it still, it'll probably be better. Where's my pen? All right. Let me put this up right here. See that Social Security liability? That's another, $20 trillion. Medicare liability, $30 trillion. And if you add those numbers again, you're totally this is estimate, guys. I think this is above the books number. $125 trillion in U.S. unfunded liabilities if you add that $22 trillion up there at the top of the screen. At $381,000 per, I hate that word citizen because we're not citizens, we're individuals. It's BS, man. It's BS. All that money went somewhere. Remember Alan Grayson getting the auditor for the Federal Reserve going, there's $9 trillion missing. Could you please tell us where it is? I played that video several times. And it's like, well, you know, I'll have to get back with you on that. We'll get back with you. $9 trillion, guys. Do you know how much $1 trillion is? If you made $1 for every second you were alive, that's 86,400 seconds a day. You'd make $86,400 a day. How many years would it take you? See if you guys know this answer. How many years would it take you earning $1 a second to make your first $1 trillion? Anybody know the answer? Somebody guess. Just take a guess. I'll wait. I'm gonna pull up the super chats. You guys tell me what your guess is. How many years would it take to earn $1 trillion if you made $1 a second, every second that you live? Somebody's been doing their homework, Brandon, Shane. Yeah, it's like 37,000 freaking years. That's how much 1 trillion is, but we're $125 trillion in transgenerational debt slavery. How does that happen without a Federal Reserve? How does that happen without an IRS? I have no idea. I'm trying to pull up the super chats. My computer's running slow. Still tapped out on the resources. Yep, about 37,000 years. 37,000 years, guys. Making $1 a second. That's how long it'll take you to make your first $1 trillion. Obscene. People have no idea how much $1 trillion is. And they're going to sit up there and spout climate change and say we got to give more of our money to politicians that are absolutely untrustworthy and wasteful. Give me a break. Give me a break. Give me a freaking break. Let me see. Okay. Super chats. Pulling up the super chats. Yep, money is worthless. I Fix Him says, does Trish have friends? Need me a girl like her. Babe, I don't think do you have any friends, babe? I don't know. No, she has no friends. We don't have friends. Seeking the Truth says, I don't need to believe in oxygen to breathe. Climate activists, Don Ski says, climate activists have convinced young children that they are going to die in a matter of years. Now do tell, who are the real extremists here? Good point, man. They're constantly calling us conspiracy theorists. And, oh, man, you guys are extremists. Extremists, you guys are saying that we only have 11 years to turn this ship around. After that, it's too late. We got to do something now. We're dying now. Greta says, we're threatened with the beginnings of mass extinction. Now, extremists and conspiracy theorists. There's your conspiracy theory. Man. It's plain as the nose on your face. So thanks, Don, for the super chat. Dana Krotz, love you, brother. Never stop. I will try my best till my dying breath to keep on doing this. I mean, what else is there, guys? What else is there? The truth fears no scrutiny. I should read a couple of these comments that I got saying that I'm a 33rd degree Mason. Guys, if you think I'm a 33rd degree Mason, just call me out, but just do it with documentation. Accusation without substantiation is the height of ignorance. I think Edison or somebody said that. No matter who said that, it's true. Think about it. If you make an accusation without substantiation, how are you anything but ignorant? If I call you Nate, fill in the blank, and it's not true, and I don't have any facts to back me up, what does that make me? Ridiculous. 33rd degree Mason. I call out the activities of the Masons. He likes you. He likes the 33rd degree Mason guy likes me. He likes you because he's not going away. Yeah, that's a good point, babe. I mean, why would you even stick around on a channel where you thought that the channel creator was a 33rd degree Mason? Very interesting. So thanks, Dana Krotz, for the super chat. Allison Jackson, thanks for the super chat. There's no message on that. Peacekeeper, brother, I love your work. Great to see you live. Hey, man, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, all you guys, all you 558 for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you can, do me a favor and just give a thumbs up to this video. I see a lot of you have. It just helps with the algorithm. And once this video gets done uploading, share the link with everybody you know if you can. That helps combat the YouTube suppression and all the stupid algorithms they have in play. There's a lot, huh? What? Oh yeah, if you guys have any t-shirt ideas, call them out too. If I make a t-shirt based on your suggestion, I'll actually in the t-shirt store, I'll give you the name credit there. So anytime anybody gets a t-shirt, that design, you'll get credit. Your name will be in lights, basically. James York, man, thanks for really appreciate the super chat. Frank R, hashtag support our own. Yep. Sacred Avocado says, this is Agenda 21 in action. Exactly. Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. I need to make a distillation video of that. It's called the Agenda for Sustainable Living. Agenda 21, now called Agenda 2030. And I should do that. Thanks for the reminder on that. Brainwash the youth of the next generation. It's so obvious, especially if you've done your research. Yep. And then thanks for the super chat on that. Scared Avocado. Sorry, I said sacred. And hashtag seeking the truth. Brian, check your email, both or Discord. Okay, man, I'll try to do that tonight. I'm the world's worst guys at checking my email. I really get pummeled with them. Okay, so Seeking Truth says Masons do not hide it. They admit it proudly, says Seeking Truth. Yeah, that's true. You know, there is secrecy also. And I've known people who claim to be Masons that I really don't believe are on the inner sanctum, although they could be. That's just a belief I have. I can't really. Gosh, when you're in secret societies like that and you're wearing the apron and you're kind of going, you know, as a grown man, you're part of this cultic organization. It's bizarre to me. So I can't imagine, you know, the lower levels of Masonry that they aren't in on some level of just outright evil, you know, like Luciferian oaths or whatever. Stone Gray Sky says, Brian, you are a prophet. No, I would not say that I am a prophet, not by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe I should I need to get with a call for an uprising, because I would, you know, that people know more about this stuff than I do. So I would like to listen to what they have to say and do my own studying on it. MGC The Truth says, put the shirt that says background checks won't work. Yeah, or something like background checks are infringements. Because if you think about it, if I had a feather, any paper's weight of infringement, like something ridiculously light, even if it's like hardly any weight at all, and it looks like it's just so benign, is still an infringement. Any barrier between you and the firearm that you want, whether it's increased taxes for ammunition, increased taxes for firearms, background checks, or extreme risk protection orders on this side, keeping you from getting this firearm, a 30-day wait, whatever it is, assault weapons ban, bump stock bans, if it's keeping you from keeping and bearing arms, it is literally an infringement. You don't want background checks? You want guns in the hands of bad people? You think that mentally ill people should have guns? No, I don't think mentally ill people should have guns. But if they get them and they start hurting people, then everybody else that you didn't mess with stupid background checks and all these stupid regulations would be armed to overthrow that evil that came from the mentally ill people that got guns. Mentally ill people are going to get guns. Or you're going to make it easier for them. No, I'd rather make it easy. I'd rather just leave. I don't trust government. And when government gets involved in something, it's bad for your individual liberties. It's horrible. Horrible. Every time, 100% of the time. Government police need. Yeah, that's another thing. You guys bring up such good points. Let me go to the room right now. See what you guys are saying. Shoot, how did I get out of that? All right, let me get back in there. That's a good point. Cops are 40% more likely than the general public to be domestic abusers, guys. And yet they have firearms loaded to the gills. If anybody shouldn't have firearms, it's the cops. And yet I still don't want cops to be banned from having firearms, because cops are still people too. And if I want to call for a cop ban on firearms, then I need to be ready for that same boomerang to come back and lop my head off. Any ban that you want on anybody, or any censorship you want on anybody, any voice that you want to silence, you better be ready for that. Somebody to want to silence your voice. That's the double-edged sword of censorship. That's the double-edged sword of banning. That's the double-edged sword of prohibition. And prohibitions never work. They never have and they never will. Well, actually, they do work, just not in the way that the general public thinks that they will. Organized crime rises when you have regulations, when you have banning. People go to jail. From the drug war sprung the prison industrial complex. 1.65 million people go to jail every single year for non-violent crimes. They're not really crimes. iFix'em says gun violence equals confiscation. Government gun violence equals confiscation. And that confiscation comes by government gun violence. Okay, guys, I'm gonna keep this under an hour and 30 minutes tonight. I'll just share this video if you think it's worth sharing. Climate change is a complete and utter scam. I'm just going to bring this whole thing around. They're exploiting children in the climate change scam, just like they're exploiting children in the gun control, which is really people control scam. So just to close this out and bring everything around, I don't have anything personal against Greta. I've got nothing bad to say about Greta other than I feel bad for her because a bunch of adults have seen her as an opportunity to push their agenda. When they push their agendas, they pile on laws. When they pile on laws, they do two things. They create a further slave class because they're criminalizing innocent, peaceful gun owners and making them criminals, and they're transferring power from those peaceful people to the politicians. And the second thing is they're transferring wealth from those peaceful people to the politicians using people like Greta and David H. from the Parkland shooting. And they're trying to push this thing through because they want you to be powerless. They want you to have an entitled mindset. They want you to go to the grocery store or to the bank or the post office or the schools and be completely disarmed and completely dependent on their power to come and save your ass. And they never do. They always come after the fact to write down, okay, get with the coroner. How many body bags we need? Okay, 52 body bags. How many body bags we need? Okay, 27. They're not there to stop crime. They're there to take the pictures and put the chalk lines around the bodies and tell you how bad it was and bring on the body bags and put corners into business and then take away your individual rights through gun control or people control legislation. So guys, I appreciate you joining me tonight. Thanks for all the super chats. I appreciate the support. Check out the new shirts that I have in the shirt store. Every purchase helps support this channel and the uncompromising truth on this channel. If there's something you disagree with that I've said in this live stream, don't just click off and say unsubscribe. You're just full of BS. Just leave your comment in the comment section below if I see it and you're right. Truth fears no scrutiny. Sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. Either that's true or it's not. So I appreciate you guys joining me. You guys make it a great day, not only for yourselves, but also for everybody in your zone of influence. And remember, if there's one takeaway from this, don't give one nanoparticle of your rights to a psychopathic criminal politician because you know that's not going to end well. See you guys. Have a good night.